Now, one of his jazz, what do you call it, collaborations. This came out, I'm not exactly sure the provenance of this. It came out in, I think, around 1959 or 60 or something. That was it's called Soul Meeting. That version has this cool kind of embossed stereo thing on it. But anyway, I'm not sure if this was outtakes because these guys released another album called Soul Brothers. This was the second album, Soul Meeting. I think it was all recorded at the same time, and it may have just been outtakes. But this is Milt Jackson is the vibraphone player. Ray Charles is the pianist, and he may play. Yeah, on X-Ray Blues, Ray Charles plays the piano, then he plays the sax, then he plays electric piano, something like that. Anyway, they do a version of Hallelujah, I Love Her So, very long instrumental. This got Blue Genius on it, which is really great. X-Ray Blues is great. Bags of Blues is great. This is a really, really good album. Okay, next is one of his mid-60s albums. This is Ray's Moods. People like to pick on this album cover, but I happen to like this album cover quite a bit. This is a lot of fun. This is a little varied album, but it's a lot of kind of straight, kind of almost hard R&B, but also some more dense and orchestral type music. It's got a couple of songs that would have fit well on to Have a Smile With Me, Chitlins with Candied Yams, and Granny Wasn't Grinning That Day, which is kind of silly. What You're Doing in There is a kind of comedy song about a guy trying to get into this woman's house because he suspects she's with another guy. A Born Loser is on here. Now this is great. This is just kind of reliable, classic Ray Charles type music from 1966, I think. Okay, now we come to another live album. This is certainly a canonical live album. Ray Charles, live in concert from 1965, I think. Recorded perhaps in late 64, something like that. This is ABC Records. This is a super, super loose performance. Loose like Ray is loose. The band is tight. They do a great version of I Got a Woman. I Got a Woman, everybody knew the song by then. His crowds knew the song, and it's just such a fun sing-along. There's a big, long kind of outro section. You Don't Know Me is just sparkling. Makin' Whoopee is this long 6-minute song, and he kind of talks about some of his recent troubles, especially with like paternity suits and stuff that he's going through in the press at the time. And of course it ends, as every concert did for decades, with What I Say. Hugely, hugely entertaining, fun live album right there. Just amazing. Okay, now we come for some straight, very lean, muscular R&B. This is, it says Ray Charles. It really should say Ray Charles and Jimmy Lewis. It's a collaboration. It's called Doing His Thing, or Doing His Thing. Jimmy Lewis wrote or co-wrote all of the songs on here, all 10 of the songs, and performs on a couple of them. I think if it wasn't for Bad Luck, I think that's a duet. Jimmy Lewis always wrote interesting songs. His songs are just very, very unique, and they all are on here too. Kind of like Percy Mayfield. There's always something, an interesting take on stuff. Anyway, this is a great album. This is just really, really fun, energetic R&B songs. No dense orchestras and stuff like that. It's just ding, 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 ding. Renaissance, featuring a particularly odd cover. There's Ray as I don't know what that is. There's Ray as an egg, and then somebody, I guess Ray breaking his own egg. And then the gatefold has Ray giggling because he's broken his own egg. Anyway, this has got some great stuff. This is 1975, I think. It's his last album for his ABC years, I think, crossover, which is kind of ABC. He does Living for the City, like a full 6-minute version of Stevie Wonder's song, Living for the City. He does Then We'll Be Home, which is a classic song on here. He does It Ain't Easy Being Green, which was the Kermit the Frog song, which kind of took off as a sort of a mainstream song. The final song he does is Sail Away, the Randy Newman song, and as much as I like Ray Charles, I prefer the Randy Newman one. This is done fantastically, but he misses some of the words up, and you can't do that with that song. Those words are perfect the way they are. Okay, then right before, a little bit before Renaissance, was this album. Come Live With Me. Come Live With Me came out in '74, I think. A lot of great stuff on here. It's got a very, very 70s cover. See Ray with the soft lighting and all these little stars and sparkles. But Come Live With Me is a great, great song. Very, very lush and very orchestral and very moving. Till There Was You is on here. The B-side is more energetic R&B type stuff. Everybody Sing is great. It's big soaring like, everybody sing high. Somebody, Where Was He? Where Was He is another Jimmy Lewis song. Telling a woman, you know, your new guy or your guy now didn't support you, blah, 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 but I would support you. Something like that. Anyway, there's Ray. I like this picture of Ray back here too. So Come Live With Me is a very classic album, I think, from the mid-'70s of Ray. Okay, here's the original, the actual Milt Jackson compilation as intended, Soul Brothers. This was recorded as an album. Cosmic Ray, that's on here. Cosmic Ray is a great song. These are nice, these songs, because they're kind of long, they stretch out, they're instrumental jazz. Different performers come in and out doing different solos. Of course, Milt Jackson does his vibraphone stuff. I think maybe guitar. I think he plays guitar somewhere. Anyway, Soul Brothers is a long, good workout, which Milt wrote. Cosmic Ray, a Blue Funk, I think that's the one I like best. And then Ray wrote that one. So this is a very classic album, and if you like anything about jazz or Ray Charles or Milt Jackson, you have to buy this one. Okay, here's the Crying album, Sweet and Sour Tears. I like this picture of Ray too. He just looks dry-lipped and looks like he's hurting. The Sweet and Sour Tears, every song has cry or tears or something like that in the title. They're all like that. Except what you might not expect is that it doesn't mean that this is a sad album. It's not all slow. Some of it is like I Cried For You, which is more upbeat and more like, hey, I cried for you, now you cry for me. Cry Me a River is a great version of Cry Me a River on here. So this is a lot of fun. It's not sad and weepy, not 100%, it is, but yet another concept album. It's called Dedicated to You. Came out in the early 60s, 1960 something. On ABC, it's another concept because every song title is the name of a woman's name. Nancy, Margie, Ruby, Rosetta. The best ones on there, I think, of course, Ruby is one of his big classics, and it's just superb. It's fantastic. Hard-Hearted Hannah is a lot of fun. Sweet Georgia Brown, which people may know as the Harlem Globetrotters song, but this is the vocal version with Candy's a lot of fun. These are all great. These are all great songs, and very, very lush. More of a lush album. Now, Ray's final album of the '70s was actually 1980, I think. But I consider it the '70s because it ended an era, and it's really, really good. It's Brother Ray is at it again. It's really, really varied album. He does a lot of different types of stuff, different types of music. What I like is, I think it was a single, Compared to What, which is a song from the late '60s, which in its original guise was like a slow, bluesy, jazzy kind of angry social commentary type song. This is kind of a disco version of it, but it's really tough. It's like hard funk, not exactly disco. But Ray is really, really good on the song as a singer. He does the band's Ophelia, Robbie Robertson song, which is a very inspired choice. You would never think of that, but it works very well. This is a great album because it's very cohesive. It's only 8 songs, but they're all different. They all stick together well. Get this one.